Hey, it's Jahan here, and we'll be talking about training, specifically how I got into training once a week and using only 5 exercises for nearly a year now and how that's benefited me. So ever since the lockdown hit, as with many of us, I switched from training in the gym to training with just using my body weight, usually the pull-up bar and the floor. So I started with the traditional high volume approach, trying to get as many reps in as possible. I was influenced by the inspirational Iron Wolf channel, where he was doing routines of 1,000 burpees and pull-ups, and just trying to keep up with a quarter of what he was doing would completely exhaust me. And then a part of me was realizing that when I was in the gym, I wasn't trying to just hit reps, I was trying to get progressive overload, making the exercise harder so that I get more for less, rather than trying to just get more and more volume in. So as I was researching, I discovered a channel known as Tao Physique, where he introduced the concept of gymnastics rings to me. And this is where I realized that by adding this simple tool, this little wooden circle, it made all my pushing exercises in particular exponentially harder. So what would require, say, hundreds of push-ups, I was getting a good workout in of 10 push-ups on the rings. Give or take, but just as an example of how much harder it was when I switched to the rings. Basically, I was getting much more bang per buck for each rep, getting more out of doing less. So I was also loving training outdoors. I was enjoying using my body weight, moving my body in space from A to B, as opposed to moving an external weight. And I also really wanted to get my pull-up numbers up. It was something I always struggled with. Whenever people would do pull-ups or chin-ups, I just wasn't able to keep up with whoever I was surrounded with at the time. I was also getting into rock climbing, so I just saw many benefits, and I was really enjoying this more wholesome calisthenics approach, or at least that's how it felt to me. However, as I was going on, I was training maybe 4 times a week, doing loads of different exercises, constantly having this fear of missing out on, am I doing this to hit that muscle? With weights in the gym, I knew exactly what I was targeting and I could sculpt my body in the way that I wanted. Whereas with calisthenics, I felt a bit aimless, a bit lost. Although I was enjoying it, I was loving it for the reasons I mentioned: exposure to the elements, moving your body weight, that full body compound impact. But I just felt a bit lost and wasn't sure where I was going to go with this, just doing more reps continuously. So it was while looking for content on rings specifically that I came across the Mindful Mover, an account run by Phil and Martina, a married couple. And to give you an idea, Phil has the constitution of a Greek god, can do advanced calisthenic skills, and claimed that he only trained once a week, and not only that, but only used 5 exercises. I just thought, this is too good to be true. I've linked his explanation for what the big 5 techniques are in the description below. But for those watching here, it's about using exercises that give the widest range of gains or the widest amount of free gains on other exercises. For example, if you were, for your horizontal push, to do a dip and a bench press, and you improve those, you will not improve your planche push-up for free, or at least not to a decent amount. However, if you were to solely work on your planche push-up progressions, your dip and your bench press will improve drastically for free. So on this concept, the Mindful Mover, Phil and Martina, have filtered down to 5 techniques that have the widest range of gains. And those techniques are: for the horizontal push, the planche push-up progressions; for the horizontal pull, the front lever row progressions; for the vertical push, the handstand push-up progressions; for the vertical pull, the one-arm chin-up progressions; and for the lower body, squat progressions. Now you may be thinking, even myself, when I saw this, I can't do these techniques. However, remember, they're progressions, so you do the version that you can do. For example, if you can't do a planche push-up, you can do the regression, which is a leaned forward push-up. I've attached a link in the description below with a list of the progressions, so please have a look and find the one that you're on. Another concept is accommodating resistance. A link in the description to hear their definition of what this is, but my summary from what I understand is to make the exercise as difficult as possible for the whole range of movement. For example, if you were to do a barbell bench press or a barbell squat, say 60 kg, you will have that same weight or that same difficulty throughout the whole range of motion. However, you are stronger at different parts of the technique. The strength curve will change. For example, you may be weaker at the bottom of the squat than the top of the squat. So in theory, you could hold heavier weight the closer you are to the top, and you could handle less weight the closer you are to the bottom. With normal reps, you're not able to make this adjustment. However, with accommodating resistance, you intend to adjust the difficulty to make it as hard as possible throughout the whole rep range, throughout the whole range of motion. For example, in a mixed grip chin-up, where you're pulling with one hand and assisting with the other hand, on the way up, you are weaker, so you assist with this hand as much as is needed. And on the way down, you're stronger, so you assist less. So that on the way up and on the way down, at both sections, you're using maximal difficulty. This allows you to get far more for each rep, meaning you can gain in less time. And we'll link to the topic later of how we're training once a week. So the exercises defined, the ones that the Mindful Mover have figured out through testing that had the widest range of free gains, and using the concept of accommodating resistance to make each rep maximally difficult, we then have the question of how often do we train? So if you can think of three metrics, one is frequency, how often do we train? Volume, how much are we training, or maybe how many reps could be a good way to look at it, and intensity, how difficult are the sessions? So if you imagine they're all pulling from the same resource, when you increase the intensity to make sure you remain injury-free, we reduce the frequency and the volume. Therefore, by making the intensity maximally difficult by using accommodating resistance and the hardest progressions of the big five that we can do, we reduce our frequency and volume to such a point that we're training once a week and still making gains week on week and looking better week on week as well. After a few months of training like this, my strength was at the strongest it had ever been. I remember testing it in the gym, and before COVID hit, my bench was 80 kg on a good day for 5 reps. And after training with calisthenics, it went to 100 kg for reps with ease. Secondly, my physique, although I wasn't training to sculpt, not training particular muscle groups, just those big 5, I felt I was hitting all the muscle groups that I wanted to hit for me to be aesthetically pleased with how I was looking. However, then Christmas hit, I wasn't training for nearly a month, had laser eye surgery, so also couldn't train for that reason, and was eating just cakes every single day. So now that I've lost quite a bit of strength and put on a bit of weight, I thought to get back into the training, I will sign up to their online personal training and see how that impacts or how effective that can be. I've learned so much from their free content on Instagram and YouTube, and have gained back so much time and have freed up so much mental space. However, I want to support what they're doing. I believe it's important to support those who search and share knowledge and find knowledge, because by supporting them, it gives them the time to do that. And secondly, if I can do it in an even more effective and efficient way, then that's worth trying and figuring it out. So what I will be sharing in any video related on this topic will be how that's progressing and how that's going. I won't share anything to do with too much of the programming or anything that's to do with their service, as I believe that's on them to share. However, I will be sharing anything related to their free content and how I'm personally progressing. So stay tuned, and what you'll see now is where I'm at the big 5 currently. I've definitely regressed since before Christmas. However, it'll be great to see how much I can get back to where I was and how far I can go beyond that. So stay tuned. So we'll now head to the park, so I'll see you there.